Good evening, everyone. I'm Adrienne Broadus here at Penumbra Theater in St. Paul, where they preserve and celebrate Black history every day. We want to thank the staff here at Penumbra for opening their space and allowing us to tape this special edition of Breaking the News from their beautiful theater. Here, on the 28th day of February, as the sun is setting on this final day of Black History Month, we're going to look back at some of the stories that have touched you the most, some of the stories that highlight our community and the struggle. We begin with a story born right here on this stage. Penumbra's new powerful play talks about the haunting case of Emmett Till. I sat down with some of the actors who say this play is needed now more than ever. What do all of you make of the Jussie Smollett story?
That is a absolutely mind-boggling moment to consider.
There are things that are happening. I don't think it could change the fact that these things are happening.
I think regardless of what happens with the outcome of this story, what we know is that Black men and gay men are disproportionately targeted for violence in this country, and we can't lose sight of that because of this particular situation.
Long before Jussie Smollett's stunt, Black men and boys were targeted and attacked for decades. Migration, the national theme for this year's Black History Month, speaks to that oppression.
There was also a really profound understanding that people were trying to escape terrorism and violence.
That violence is an integral part of a play showing now at Penumbra Theater. The play Benevolence is part 2 of the Emmett Till trilogy.
They said Emmett Till was a man, a young man, he was a boy.
Emmett was only 14 when he was beaten and killed in Money, Mississippi by 2 white men.
What this play allows us to glimpse is a context for why people felt so deeply that they needed to leave the land that they'd been on for generations.
Sarah Marsh plays the role of Carolyn Bryant, the white woman who said Emmett assaulted her.
Claims she was whistled at by Emmett Till and is responsible for his murder.
The men charged, Bryant's husband and brother-in-law, acquitted. Both later confessed but never served time. Carolyn later said she made the story up. Emmett's mother held an open casket funeral so the world could see what the men did to her son. Images of his unrecognizable body shaped the civil rights movement.
That's why the story is so vital and so important that we have to keep telling it and keep it in the consciousness of each generation.
Her lie essentially got a 14-year-old boy killed.
Yeah.
Jussie filed a false police report. Nobody died. Yet he was arrested. Carolyn Bryant is still living her life.
She is.
What do you make of that?
I think that's a perfect example of this one woman telling a lie that lost a child his life, and this other example with Jussie that shows the disproportionate effect of what we call the justice system on people in different bodies, of different races, and also of different times. And Benevolence runs here at Penumbra Theater through March 10th. Outside of the month of February, Black history is on display year-round here at Penumbra. It's preserved in the form of a quilt. If you look at this quilt wall behind me, you'll see the word Rondo. And that's where we're going to go now, to the Rondo neighborhood, where a trio of students are being recognized nationally for their documentary highlighting the trauma linked to the Rondo neighborhood.
Always room for firsts here on Breaking the News. Scooter drama has hit the Twin Cities. I actually just said that out loud, but only because Chris claims that this is true. Scooter drama, that's not a character in Napoleon Dynamite, is here.
If you haven't seen those electric scooters buzzing around downtown, you probably will, as the company Bird invaded the Twin Cities overnight. We know the story of Uber and Lyft. This is like ride-sharing 2.0. Shareable electric scooters. It's the new tech startup craze that has some people pumped and some cities PO'd.
It's a bird. It's a plane.
Actually, it's a scooter. The company's called Bird, though. And these bad boys are brand new to Minneapolis, and they're kind of like the Uber of scooters. I call them scooters.
The company, about a year old, started in Santa Monica, California. The premise, supply dockless, rentable electric scooters to a metropolitan area, now available in at least 19 cities.
And they're just so cool. You can just start them up and go to where you're going and leave them at a bike rack or outside of a place and you're good to go.
Here's how it works. You download the Bird app and plug in your payment info. Just like Uber, you find a scooter near you on the map. Scan it with your phone and ride. It costs $1 to unlock the machine plus 15 cents per minute. We rented one for 40 minutes and it cost us $7. Here are the rules. You gotta be 18 years old and have a driver's license on you. You gotta wear a helmet. In Minneapolis, no riding on the sidewalks. You have to follow bicycle rules. These things do top out at 15 miles an hour.
So when you're done with these, you can just find a bike rack, a street corner, whatever, put the kickstand down and walk away. You're done. The controversial part of that is that these birds are going to be littered throughout the town.
One of the guys is like, jump on it now because he thinks the city's going to close it down the next couple days.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but the city of Santa Monica filed criminal charges against Bird for operating without a business license. They settled for $300,000 in fines. San Francisco and Denver banned these for now. Milwaukee too. In fact, Milwaukee sued the company for failing to register scooters and is fining people $100 if they're caught riding them. The hashtag scooters behaving badly shows you all the quality scooter park jobs around the country.
We have not had a dialogue with Bird yet. We welcome that dialogue. We encourage that dialogue.
The Minneapolis City Council Committee passed some regulation Tuesday saying where you can ride and park shared scooters. The city expects to chat with the company later this week.
Two other players in the scooter game right now, a company called Lime and a company called Spin. Lime is actually backed by Uber, so that's a huge move for them. St. Paul also got this delivery of scooters overnight magically placed in their city streets, and they weren't quite as nice as Minneapolis, saying basically that the scooters were placed in their city streets illegally because they didn't have a permit, so they were not very nice about it. But interesting stuff. A lot of people love them, a lot of people hate them. The people that we saw on the streets were all about them. They really enjoyed them.
Yeah, but it's also, you know, they're both in Minneapolis, St. Paul, doing the, I'm not going to ask for permission first, I'm just going to do it and see how it goes. You create buzz, you create market demand, you create us now knowing about it. Now the council's like, well, people want them. I don't know. The mom in me, which I'm not a mom, is saying people are going to get hurt.
They're going to get hurt on bikes, get hurt walking, get hurt driving. I enjoyed them.
I guarantee you if I got on a scooter that went 15 miles per hour right now, 5 minutes.
You got to pad up.
A blammo.
You got to pad up.
Oh, that would be a pretty sight, Minneapolis. Well, let's scoot along. Maya Moore shocked the wide world of sports when she announced Tuesday afternoon she would sit out this season to focus on her family, her faith, and her ministry. Tonight, for the first time on television, Lynx head coach and general manager Cheryl Reeve shares her thoughts on that and explains why, at the end of the day, her team is about much more than basketball. So ridiculous and so meta, but we made it happen because it's Halloween and this is a party show. These two amazing fans, Meg and Gilly, couldn't find better outfits, I guess. So they did one that looks like me. And for the last, 24 hours, we've taken to the internet to say who did it better. And you know what? I'm kind of a Minnesotan right now, so I can't decide. Both of you win. But they are voting online right now, and it's close, but Meg is in the lead with 57% to 43%. I mean, this is, you know, it's not fair. But I want to start with you, Gilly. Why? And how did you do that to your hair?
Pin curls
curls.
And a lot of time.
Yeah. So how do you come up with the idea?
I curled my hair a few weeks ago and for an event, and then the next day, you know, woke up with day 2 and just looking in the mirror, and I was just like, oh, I kind of got the Jana Shortle going on. I was like, so, okay. So I told a few friends, and one of them was like, you need to go as Jana for Halloween, and best idea ever, so.
I mean, I'm not at all insulted that you woke up like this.
Yeah.
On day 2, and it's me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, crusty day 2.
Why not dress as Jana Shortle?
It's a cheap costume, right? You just find your mom's old blazer, throw a bolo on, and call it a day. Nice shoes.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, just cuff your pants a little bit, because we're short.
Yep.
Well, for the taller version of myself, we have Meg.
That's me.
What are you thinking?
Well, honestly, I was not going to dress up at all because I couldn't think of anything, and I was flipping through Twitter on Sunday night and saw a picture of our friend Gilly over here and said, I could probably do that. I had no idea it was going to escalate like this. So Gilly deserves all the kudos for the inspiration.
Hey, you did a good job.
Thank you.
So Meg robbed Gilly, who robbed me.
Yep.
Awesome. That's great. That's outstanding. Well, we have some final results, and old me will get them. Meg, 56% to 44%. You wind up on top. But here's the thing, like I said, I can't decide. And what both of you don't yet have is a pocket score.
Yes.
This is what makes it complete.
Oh.
So you get to choose.
Oh, thank you.
Probably both of them have a bit of my sniffles.
Hey.
Oh, I would be
Which
honored.
would you like?
They're so beautiful. I don't even know. I'm going to take this one.
Okay, there you go. Here's your
Thank you so much.
consolation
I'm
pocket
honored.
square.
I'm honored.
Right? So I hope next year that you get a better costume idea than mine,
Impossible.
and maybe that person will have you on their 6:30 television show. But until then, you're the better me.
Oh, thanks, Jana.
Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you for having
And thanks all of you for voting. Thanks to Megan Gilly. And let's have some more fun when we come back. Now you get a little. Let's go back in time. On February 10th, you responded to a tweet with the words, "It's all about the Benjamins, baby." Do you regret that tweet?
Regret is a strange word.
It upset many Jewish Americans, many Jews around the world, and a lot of Jews in the 5th District.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to them?
Yeah, I mean, that for me is the regrettable part. And what is regrettable about that for me is that sometimes you could be so blinded to how certain words could stir up feelings of pain for people.
You apologized for that tweet.
I did.
Do you still believe in your apology? Would you apologize again today?
I would. I think anytime somebody stops you and says what you did or what you said has hurt my feelings, I think you are not a good human if you do not pause and take that in and recalculate it in your head and reach a conclusion that tells you that you should apologize for those feelings that you hurt.
Are you anti-Semitic?
Absolutely not.
Weeks pass. You're speaking at a fundraiser for CARE, describing the 9/11 terrorist attack that killed 2,977 people, and you said some people did something. What did you mean?
In my speech, I was talking about how our civil liberties as Muslims was being eroded after the horrific attacks of 9/11. And for people to suggest that I do not have an ability to understand. I mean, I was 18 years old when that happened. I was in a classroom in college, and I remember rushing home after being dismissed and getting home and seeing my father in complete horror as he sat in front of that TV. And I remember just feeling like the world was ending.
Some people are offended by those 4 words. They suggest that you were not describing that day accurately, as they were just some people. What would you say to that?
I think that there is a particular bias and a particular lens that people sort of critique the words that I use. And that is not a bias and a lens that I could get rid of with one answer, with one conversation. To some people, right, it's easy for them to not think of me as an American, as someone who would have the same exact feelings as they did as we were being attacked on American soil. And that is really the essence of the conversation I was having. We felt the attack. We were attacked.
How do you feel about the events of 9/11?
The events of 9/11 were life-changing, life-altering for all of us. I mean, this was, I think, one of the most horrific terrorist attacks that we have lived through. My feeling around it is one of complete horror. None of us are ever going to forget that day and the trauma that we will always have to live with.
You said we and us several times in that answer.
Right.
Who are we and us?
We is the American people, and us is the American people.